I'm always reluctant to hold Singapore as a model for Southeast Asia because, one, we are less than 5 million people,
Okay.
right? Ours is a fairly centralized system. We've been fortunate that we've had very good leadership, both in government and in the education ministry, to think long term about education, to be flexible and changing when change is needed. So there are certain attributes of the system that I think we can hold up, not necessarily for borrowing, but for learning from. So given the problem that a system faces, how does a successful system deal with it, right? But if you say, well, this should work in Indonesia, or this should work in Vietnam, or work in Philippines, I think that's grossly unfair because the expectations, the resources, the history, the size, they all are very different. All right, so I'm a great believer not so much in policy borrowing, but policy learning. We ourselves in Singapore learned from the technical vocational education systems in Germany, in Switzerland, and in places in Europe, which have a strong tradition of technical and vocational education. Some of our university models now are based on American models. So we are constantly learning, but we are adapting and we are making it fit for purpose in our environment. So I think there is some things to be learned from the region where Singapore is concerned, where Singapore is model. Uh, but I don't think it's going to be possible to say you can learn from Singapore in this and that. Uh, Unless learning is contextualized in terms of this is what our needs are, this is what our resources are, what can we learn from Singapore? I'll give you an example. Uh, Conventional wisdom says the smaller the classes, the better. Singapore has always said that it's the quality of teachers rather than the size of the class that matters. So we, for a developed economy, have a relative large class size. Now, many poor countries cannot afford small classes. They can afford large classes, and some classes are very large indeed. So, how Singapore teachers deal with large classes is something that they can learn from, right? So, I think you have to be very specific of what can be learned. Another one, for example, would be technical and vocational education. Singapore, for a very long time, only allowed the best and the most talented to go to universities. Even today, it's less than 35% of the cohort. In many other contexts, it's above 50%. Our polytechnics are world class institutions, but they are diploma granting institutions. And we have an excellent ITE. So, what mix of certificate, diploma, and degree should a country adopt, given where its economy is going? Right? So, those are some broad ways in which we thought through some of these issues might be useful to other countries. Copying, no.